Daniel Arsham, contemporary art mogul. He's best known for his eroding sculptures and his limited series sellout in under a minute. His unique material usage bends reality, and he's the first artist in the world to be signed by Adidas. If you don't know his name, you should. Who wrote this? Did you write this? It's intense, man. It's got like Vice documentary vibes, the music and everything. Wow. Okay. Collaborating with brands like Dior, Kith, and even Pokemon, he has established himself as one of the most versatile in the art world and racked up a net worth of $5 million. Daniel, with that, I feel like I could do that. I'm gonna try to do that today because I'm bored. And you can too when you're bored. When you're bored. Okay, all jokes aside, I followed Daniel on Instagram a few weeks ago and I just fell in love with his aesthetic and his art. I've personally never tried sculpting before, but I felt like if I kind of learned his process, it would just make me a better artist. So that's what I did. The problem is he's not that obvious about his process, so I really had to do some digging and like look at his Instagram stories and just basically full on stalk the guy. So I think I figured out his process for the most part, and here's how I think it goes. Step 1, he starts with clay and he sculpts the entire statue. Step 2, he makes a mold of the clay sculpture and casts exact copies using whatever material he wants. In a lot of cases, I think it's plaster. And step 3, I actually don't know what he does next. I think he goes in with some kind of chisel action and puts the crystals in somehow and like secures them. I don't know. So I'm just gonna have to figure that one out. But I'm gonna kind of modify his process using some skills that I have. And what I mean by that is I'm just gonna shorten the process using 3D printing. And I'm gonna add my own twist to it at the end, like I do. So make sure you stay tuned. And here's how. Mistake counter? Wait, I don't think we need that.
No, shut.
I really don't think that's kind of a lot of pressure.
Shut. The producers have been telling me how we need to be more open and honest about how bad you actually are at everything you do, so people don't feel intimidated or something. I don't know.
Fine. So I decided that I wanted to make a Mandalorian helmet because I'm a nerd. So I found a model online and I started to try to make it look eroded using Blender. I ended up printing it in 4 parts because I tried to do it in 1 part, but I messed up and it dings.
The producers.
Well, each print ended up taking 12 hours. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that to finish and smooth my 3D prints, I just glue the parts together and cover them in wood filler and sand and prime and sand. And if you really want to see that, go watch this video. And this print is what I'm gonna end up making a mold out of. And disclaimer, I've never made a mold before, so if you're like a mold making aficionado, then you're probably gonna hate everything you're about to see. Aficionado, is that right? So I used 2-part silicone to make this mold, and I kind of just like brushed the first layer on. I don't know, it was a mistake. So I 3D printed this little wall to kind of hold all the silicone in that I chose to like just dump on it. So in an attempt to fix my mistakes, I 3D printed a giant bowl to go over the whole thing, and I thought I would fill it all with silicone, and I didn't buy enough silicone. So I ordered more, but I also decided to destroy the giant orange bowl before I filled it all the way. So I printed another smaller bowl and I got the rest of the silicone and I finally filled it. And by now like a week had gone by and I still didn't fill it high enough because the top was like really thin. Turn off the thing. Now. I 3D printed one last little circle and I filled it where the mold was too thin. Then I pulled off the plastic and the silicone mold was finally done after ruining my life on multiple occasions. Now when I pull the model out of this mold, it's gonna be all floppy and not really have any structure because it's made out of silicone. So I needed to make what's called a mother mold, but since I'm a man, I'm going to be calling it a mommy mold. And a mommy mold is basically just a hard shell that goes around the silicone to hold it in place when casting. You might say, Kevin, why didn't you just 3D print another one of those big orange bowls from earlier and use that as mommy mold? Whatever, I made the mommy mold out of plaster, and I'm not gonna go into that much detail about it because, like my life for the past month, this whole video has been molds. So now that both the molds were done, I went to pop out the model. I thought, what could go wrong? I would add like a couple more mistakes for the mommy mold situation because I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so once everything was popped out of the mold, if everything went to plan, which it obviously hasn't so far, I can finally go ahead and make copies of my sculpture. I've never used plaster before, but it's like concrete. You just mix it with water, then you pour it and it hardens easy, right? No, not at all. So I thought I'd just fill the entire thing with plaster, it would dry, and I'd pop it out. But it turns out I spent most of my plaster on the mommy mold, so I ended up filling it like halfway, running out of plaster, and what happened next was horrid. I thought since I was running low on plaster, it would be like sneaky of me to add water and like up my volume a little bit, but plaster with too much water in it, like it never dries. It's just like a muck. It was also really heavy, so after all that, I needed a different plan of attack. I decided if I could just cover the walls of the mold, it would come out hollow and it'd be lighter and easier to work with. So I dumped some plaster in and I rotated the mold to get it into all the crevices, and it hardened and it came out great. That was my best move yet. That was my best idea yet. Once I thought the walls were thick enough, I popped it out of the mold. And now it was time to like crystallize it like Daniel Arsham does. So I got some quartz crystal off of like eBay or something. I don't know. I don't remember where I got them. It was so long ago. I decided the best way to secure the crystals in the sculpture would be to like just drill out a little hole that it would fit into and then like glue it or something. So that's what I did. And plaster, once it's cured, is like really easy to work with. You can sand it, you can drill through it. And then I glued them in and I went back and put some plaster in the gaps that were showing. And it finally is almost done. In my opinion, when you draw inspiration from other artists, it's really important to put your own spin on it. And since my sculpture turned out hollow, I thought it would be really cool to add a light inside. And that was really easy. I just got a lamp cord and an LED. Before I show you the final product, I decided since I have a mold of this, I'm actually gonna sell the one I made in this video on my website, yoitskevin.com. So there's gonna be one, and it's gonna be available right when this video drops, which is just another reason to be subscribed and to do the bell. All the profit is gonna support my channel, and if you buy it, you technically sponsored this video, so thank you. Okay, enough. Let's see the final product.
When you're bored.
I really love how it turned out, and Daniel Arsham, if you somehow see this, I just hope you're proud. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. In the next one. I can't say that. In the next one. In the next one. I'll see it in the next one. In the next one. And I'll see it in the next one. I did it. There's no one in my room. It's actually pretty sad. In the next one.